So how would you describe the mission or the purpose of the church according to these verses?
To take care of the people in need.
Okay, take care of people in need? Sure. Yeah. What else do you see there in the Great Commandment, the Great Commission, and the Great Commitment?
You should love the Lord your God, and you should love your neighbor as yourself.
Right. Those two things that Jesus could not seem to disconnect. Loving God and loving neighbor are certainly connected. An attractional model of the church, that is, if you build it, they will come, doesn't seem to be working anymore. But a missional model of the church does. Like many churches, I'm challenging us to think in terms of a spring or a circular discipleship plan, which is what Salem has, where we can almost reduce the funnel. Sometimes we're moving onwards and upwards in the spring, or sometimes we're even stalled or moving backwards a bit. But we are constantly moving somehow within God's grace and how God works within us. So I've been talking with leaders at Salem about even inverting the funnel. What does that look like to think that we could go in service and then connect people as neighborhood missionaries, to coin a phrase, then help them grow by connecting to God, and then finally maybe they will glorify God in worship. Well, a neighborhood missionary is someone who is striving to be the light of the world where they live and work and play. They're taking walks in the neighborhood, they're moving the grill around to the front yard, and hanging out on the front porch again versus the back porch in order to intentionally get to know their neighbors. Essentially, they are lay pastors in a lot of ways. So taking this further, they practice radical hospitality and may host cookouts or block parties in order to invite people into their homes to start new groups. While there are no strings attached here, neighborhood missionaries hope to see more of their neighbors come to Christ and become disciples and worshipers themselves. Some of them may even become neighborhood missionaries too. The vision is that we eventually have dozens of new home groups around Conway and the community. My big dream is that Salem has twice as many people connected out there as we do inside the walls of the church in here, so to speak. At its most basic level, neighborhood missionaries are striving to be the church in the world. The church is not bricks and mortar anymore. It's people on a mission. And I'd love to have you hear from some of our first neighborhood missionaries.
To be willing to go and meet your neighbors and get out and to put yourself out there, to be able to talk to them and ask them and just to be willing to spend
move
time.
From the backyard to the front yard.
Yes, that was so. And I don't know if you remember us telling you about this. We had really decided we were going to redo our backyard, and we had a guy come in and give us an estimate. It was just crazy too much. And then
Right.
The next week you preached on going from your backyard to your front yard. So I just told Rick, well, never mind about all that because we're going to be in the front yard anyway. So we don't even have to worry about that, how much
That's
it's gonna cost
awesome.
to fix the backyard.
I didn't even realize that was a
so
thing. Yeah.
Yeah, he came and we were like crushed because, we were like, oh, this is ridiculous. And then I was like, it's okay. We're not going to be in the backyard anyway. We're going to go to the front yard. So
Yeah.
So then we've been able to take our bago out in the front yard. We during this COVID time, this was probably one of our first really big let's get the neighborhood. We had lots of graduates, lots of seniors, some from college, some from high school, and so the whole neighborhood put their little soccer tents up in their front yard and their grills in the front yard, and everybody did their own meal in their own yard.
Right.
And then the kids, all the graduates, went down the center together. So one from Bologna, one from Conway, one from UCA. And actually, I guess two from Bologna. So just to be able to reach out and all come together out of necessity because of all of the 2020 stuff, but just to get to know each other a little better.
If you are a follower of Christ who lives in a neighborhood, you are already a neighborhood missionary. Actually, whether you know it or not, you are. But if you want to become more intentional about this and grow with others, I've developed a series of hands-on workshops based on Bishop Robert Schneese's work on the 5 practices of fruitful congregations. While his focus is on congregations are obviously made up of people, right? So these workshops will focus on how we as individuals and as neighborhood missionaries make up that body of Christ as we seek to be radically hospitable, passionate worshipers, intentional in our faith development, and risk-taking missionaries, as well as being extravagantly generous. So by opening our lives and our homes to new people eventually, we hope to make disciple makers in Conway, in the little things we do day by day. As I heard author and activist Shane Claiborne say in a podcast, get ready because God is preparing you to do something really small. And so opening up our lives and homes is a small thing that we can do that can have a tremendous impact for God's kingdom.